Well, there she is, Teresa Jukowitz. Teresa, I swear you're first in almost every live stream. You've got an amazing skill there. And Palmetto Paratrooper, good morning. Thank you for coming by the live stream. It says there's 4 people here. There's NWA, Prepper Morning. Did anybody have any problems from the storm last night? And there's the Great Homestead. Shalom. Good morning. Good morning, George. I just replied to one of your posts, and there's Christy Hubbard. Shalom. Good to see you on here. Good morning, Tim Pack. No problems where I'm at from the storm. We didn't either. We got rain, which we always like to have. I did post a little video, short video after I got back because I had not realized that as soon as I left for the women's group retreat, we had a microburst in our area, and my new greenhouse was turned vertical and kind of trashed. We might be able to salvage it, but it's kind of interesting. Good morning, Lampkeeper. Good morning, Mrs. Lovely Dudley. We missed you, lady. I specifically missed you. When I walked by the theater, I was like, oh, I'm used to seeing you in there, but it's all right. Yah's will was done. It was still a really cool retreat. Brother told me to tape cardboard over my windshield this morning. The cardboard was all over the yard. Yeah. But the greenhouse, it's funny. The one that I've made, the one janky one, and it's not just me, like the men of the community and Pastor Joe, carried the block and all that stuff for that janky homemade one. But it's still standing. The fence framework is actually pretty strong compared to that commercial one that I thought was made with aluminum, so yeah, anyway, I've still got the one, and the janky one's the one with plants in it too. Oh, it's getting bad there. Ooh, yeah, I guess the storms are not done. Just be careful. Hopefully if you're in a tornado alley, you have plans or places to go or whatever for the bad weather. All right, so I did want to kind of do an after action review, sort of a report or whatever on the women's group retreat, which Women's Group Wednesday, which is kind of offshoot of Bear Independence Patreon channel, has had a women's retreat generally in the same time frame for 4 years now, and I've been to 2 of them. And I did a report on last year's, and I think it's important to get the word out for the women in Women's Group Wednesday, and I'll share with you just real quick after this why I think it was important. But let me see what y'all are up to. Terra Firma, good morning, Sister Kate and crew. And there's Aid. Yeah, I commented on your video or your Instagram post or whatever. Aid, good to see you. I've been sealing up 50 pounds of potato flakes and 50 pounds of baking mix today as a reason to stay inside out of the rain. Well, at least you're being productive, right? Oh, more storms headed up to the Ohio area. Okay. Excuse me, severe thunderstorm warnings. Wow. Yeah, well, keep yourself protected. Rob Painless. Good morning, traveler, says Rob Painless to Aid. Well, you can say good morning to me too, Rob. I saw that his post, he was in Colorado the last time I saw it. My children make certain there's always work for me to do indoors. Laugh out loud. I'm supposed to be doing work, so this is part of my work. You guys are getting involved in it. There's Rachel listening on my earbud at work. Good morning. Shalom, and thanks for supporting the channel, Rachel. Southwest Tennessee is where she's at. Okay. So the reason I think that women's retreats and men's retreats, Angela Lewis, oh wow, I get a live. Yes, you do. Why I think they're important, because in some contexts, I think they could be just like a mini vacation. Like, a bunch of women are going to go somewhere, and I knew a group that had been playing bunco for like 25 years, and so they decided to do their 25th bunco thing in Las Vegas, and they all went to Las Vegas and played bunco and did whatever. And I think that's fine. Science is showing that women doing things together with other women is better for a woman's health. But these spiritual ones, it's almost like you think you have to have some experience while you're there. And I feel like I don't want to force something like that. I don't want to go there planning specifically for certain things to happen. And so I don't do that. Now, other people may. And this year I was not even going to go. I wasn't really feeling a prompting to go. Hey, Lost Light, shalom. Last year was really good for me. I needed that time away desperately. Came home refreshed and encouraged. Thank you for your testimony, Angela. And there's Brenda. Good morning. Yeah. I wasn't going to go this year. And so I texted the admin and I said, or I emailed her, I said, no, I don't think I'm going to make it. And literally later that day, Yahweh downloaded a whole, not speech, but a whole message for me to share. And then I realized, like, okay, I guess I'm going. And so I had that written down, and I made sure I didn't forget to take it with me. But other than that, and a game of Agricola, I have this game I like to play called Agricola. It's a homesteading game. And other than that, I really had no, I'm definitely going to go there, and I'm going to, pray 10 times a day, and I'm going to read my Bible 6 times. And, I had none of that. Was warm during the morning, then all of a sudden a snowstorm. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's difficult for my wife and I to drop that kind of money on ourselves. It's not that we can't afford it. It's just, what am I depriving my children of when I spend that kind of money on myself? Well, and wait a minute. Couldn't make it this year. Hope to come next year. I got snow, Rob. Oh, okay. He's jealous of snow. Agricola's awesome. Palmetto Paratroopers family is one of the first people outside of my own family that I played that game with, and they immediately bought it. I should really get a sponsorship from that company, because I think I've sold about 15 sets to different people by just playing it with them. But anyway, I don't want to get off the thread that I was on. In Palmetto, I think a one way to work around something like that is you guys plan one and invite people or broadcast it or whatever, and just do it on a budget. Do a budget one, do a camping one where it doesn't require a lot of money from anyone and you can still get the benefits. So there you go. Shalom, McMikey. We didn't buy it, sister. You gave us yours and bought a new one. Okay, well then I've sold myself a couple. There you go. Yeah. So anyway, I just knew that was the one thing on my schedule. I knew, and they do an awesome job. Let me throw that out there. The people who plan that and carry it out do an awesome job. They pick a really nice location. The house itself is very comfortable. It has amenities like a pool and a hot tub, and the kitchen is really big. There's enough bathrooms. There's enough room in the house so that women bunk together, but they have like a big bedroom and a bathroom for themselves, and then there's like 3 communal levels. So there's a lot of planning that goes into this particular one, and it's comfortable and it's in a nice location. But I think the most important thing about things like that is the possibility for people who are just Torah curious, who really want to talk face to face with other Torah believers. This is one way to do it. It's one opportunity for this to happen. And every year, I think there have been people from all parts of the country who make time and travel to have this particular experience. And And then the other thing that I was talking to some older women that I know who said, I don't know if I'd want to do something like that or whatever, is the importance of someone who is Torah experienced to talk to the ones who aren't, to reach out to the less experienced, and they can be of all ages. There were women there from 60 something all the way down to like in their 20s. And one of the ladies was Torah observant and had, her husband was in the hospital, and was probably going to be there for a little while yet. And she was feeling alone, and she was very concerned, and she really wanted to make contact with another Torah believer, but didn't know any in her area. And come to find out in that meeting, one of the other women there lived 20 miles away from her. So she came there with a wish on her heart, praying to the Father. And within like 12 hours of her mentioning this to me, she had her prayers answered. So some really miraculous things happened over this weekend in my eyes. And maybe I'm overstating it, but that one of her experiences, one of the experiences where I said, all right, this is worth it. Yahweh is here. He is moving. There were blessings that were coming down, and also there were women there who were saying, I just needed a break. I just needed some alone time with other women to refresh and get energized. Love how the Father works. Exactly right. Praise Yah. I did something like that, and it was a great experience. Titus 2 in real life said doubly. Exactly that. I want one. I'm so enjoyed the game. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I remember when it was difficult to find anyone with the Torah and Messiah within 1,000 miles. I would and did drive across the country too, right? Women absolutely need time to just be around other women. And it wasn't, I know some retreats, they'll have like people to come in and do your nails and do your hair and have a massage and all sorts of other things. But this particular retreat is really for the spiritual, sharing, and also for the relaxation. There's a really nice, not stress, but just goal of, you can wear your pajamas all day long. If you want to get a little tipsy, that's fine. We'll just put you in a bed and put a blankie on you, let you sleep off, whatever. If there's one pickle left, go ahead and eat that one pickle, the last one, because in a family, often the mom is eating the leftovers of everybody else, or not having something because she's making sure that the kids and the husband get fed. And so there's just a real sense of serenity and relaxation that's good for everyone to have at some time, right? Rob Painless, but women in general, because we're caretakers of everybody else. And so this weekend allows the women to caretake themselves in a healthy way, not a selfish way, but just a refresh your batteries way with the Lord. And so that's my first point on it. And let me check a couple of your comments before I move on. Yeah, to just be, said Lovely Doug. Wish my wife had gone. She's wanting to go and also join the calls, but Wednesday's a busy day for her. Right. And there were other women there who were saying they can't always go to the calls either because it's not a convenient time for them. And so the answer to these issues is start your own group. Invite people to talk to you and fellowship with you when you have time to do it, because there's going to be someone somewhere who also has time to do it when you can do it. Or start that for yourself more locally, advertise at your library or a church, congregation thing, or a community building, or, the volunteer fire station may let you use their facility. If it's not convenient for you, then try to create that for yourself locally. Thank you. Nice, Noelle. Good catch. My wife works on Wednesday night. She does study with some ladies on a Discord server on Sundays, though. There you go. And then there was also mentioned a Zoom meeting between some people who have already met face to face. And one of the ladies there who said, I don't really get to fellowship with anyone, having met one of the Zoom meeting members, now gets to be part of that Zoom meeting. So, I mean, it can even be on the internet that you get together for this stuff. Forsake not the gathering together of brethren for fellowship, worship, and recreation. Exactly right. Hello, Mariah. Shalom. But this retreat sounds like a dream. Where, what is it? It is held by the women's group Wednesday. It's like a Zoom call, Torah observant women's meetup every week, and it's part of Bear Independence Patreon channel. Is the way I understand that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's right. Good morning, SK. I think all the women that can go should. They will meet other outstanding women. I met PJF at the ATS in 2024. Outstanding. Lee from Nebraska. Right. So let me get back to some of the other things that happened there that I was impressed with. I got to teach some people how to play Agricola Palmetto. So I think I've sold probably, and it's not important. It's not important. I'm just sharing that they all said, I think I'm going to buy this thing for me and my kids. But that game in and of itself, because it takes a while and you have to discuss moves that are being made, allows for a lot of socialization, which was good. And I got to know more about some of the women there through playing the game with them. And at least one or two of them had played it before, and they learned about their own self, because that game requires planning and forethought, and it allows those women to find out more about themselves while they're playing it, and also each other while they're playing it. I met Lee also. Shalom. Sounds like a good homeschooling game. It's a great homeschooling game. And there's even versions of it specifically for children. And you just stick Agricola, it's Agricola, in the Google search, and I'm sure a webpage will come up. Uh-oh, Palmetto Paratrooper got hidden by somebody. Was he saying something naughty? Looking it up now. Uh-oh. Let's just see. View deleted messages. Let's see. Brenda been to my house before. I'm sure she will again. We're going to have to play it next time. Okay, I accidentally touched phone. Yeah, it happens to me too. I'll see if I can. No, that's not going to work for me. I don't know if we can undo him right now. Wow, that's too bad. Maybe he'll sign out and come back on. Brenda has been to your house before. Wow, that's pretty cool, Palmetto. Oh, unhidden. Yay! Good. There you go, Lone Star. Good job. I was trying to see if I could, and it didn't look like I could. Mr. Lee did the Heimlich on me at refuge training. Very strong for 85 years old. Wow, Rachel, I didn't know you'd met Lee. That's kind of cool, too. I didn't see P say anything out of line. No, we didn't, Rob. It was a mistake. Good job, y'all. Good job. What did you say? He said nothing. He can be sassy, but he wasn't sassy that time. So anyway, let's go on to the next point. We played. Now, some of the women there really like to worship. Some of the women there really, I mean, it's part of their joy in the Lord. And I did bring my keyboard. If anyone has heard me play before, I'm not great at playing. I sing loud, maybe not well, but I knew some of the people there liked that, and that's why I brought mine, and I offered it if anybody wanted to, enjoy that. And I got a few, yeah, I would like to do that. So we did that Shabbat evening. I think it was Shabbat evening. And it was pretty stinking amazing, I'm not going to lie, because some of the women there could sing very well. We had at least 3 or 4 people harmonizing. And I wish I could have been that kind of musician who was like, yeah, I can play it by heart. And I have a repertoire of 500 songs I know, but I'm just not that accomplished. But I did have my book there so I could play the ones I did know. And some of them were just beautiful. It was such a pleasure to sing them, but also to hear them. Like I felt in some of those moments, just like, all right, that's it's just so calming. It really was calming for me, just makes me relax and so on. So that was really cool. I was doing Zoom with some ladies I met in a Torah group. Disagreements in doctrine and filibustering. The platform slowly disintegrated the group. The pattern seems to be the norm for online meetups. It depends on who's leading them and what you're actually discussing. The one I was talking about simply was doing Torah, and most of the people in it are pretty mature and aren't really interested in hashing out those kind of things. I think people who have been in the movement a long time and have some maturity will not let that come into a discussion. If you don't agree, you don't necessarily have to voice that you don't agree. You can just ignore it and let it move on. But it's whatever. You have to keep throwing seeds out no matter what. There's Coco. Shalom certificate. It wasn't me. Still enjoyed the singing though, said Brenda. Different Brenda. Okay. Yeah, the singing was really something else. So that was a benefit of going. And someone else had brought a karaoke machine, and then there was many of the ladies just wanted to sing karaoke kind of stuff and just have fun. Or voice the disagreement once and then let it go, or offer it as like, well, I don't necessarily agree with that. The way I understand it is this, but we don't need to, go into that right now. There are, I say mature, but thoughtful ways to disagree, because some people in the walk, because I was argumentative in part of my walk too, I would disagree with the people, and then, but what I felt in the spirit was that I really shouldn't be insulting. Even if they're insulting to me, I should just state the fact, quote the scripture, and then let it rest. If they wanted to keep engaging, then, I wouldn't even engage anymore. Because we can use a lot of our words, but the Father's word and his Ruach are what convict. And so if you put the word out and they're not even willing to look at it, it's not worth your time anyway. Your words will not be able to do more than the Father's word. What if you don't do Zoom? Can you still participate in the group? Well, that's the only way to access it. And my point to people who have limitations like you, George, would be try hosting something yourself in your area if you don't have Zoom. Look in your area, look in your local phone book for churches that say, hey, we do Torah on Saturdays, or we keep the Shabbat, because if they do, they're probably going to advertise it at least a little bit. Shalom, Travis, and Kentucky Survival. Many are just lost. Exactly. And not everyone gets it, but it's your job to keep throwing your seeds out. Gem for life. Yes, agree with that 100%. The most mature and balanced woman in the group was in her 30s. Right. So, and I'm not saying it is always age related, but I remember being 30. You just have a lot of energy and you're really sure about what's going on. That's why elders in the church are really important. And some people are going to disagree with me on that. But by the time you're my age, you've seen some stuff. And when you're 30, you haven't always seen some stuff. And so you don't always have the wisdom needed to handle situations. Anyways, see, Lost Light found their people in their area who were Torah observant, because 119 Ministries has a Kahal, like Google map with pinpoints of each person who's entered themselves as someone who believes in Torah. What do I do if someone is being mean to other but nice to you? That's a really good question. The Bible has the answer for that. If you have an issue with another brother or sister, you go to that brother or sister in person and say, hey, I really appreciate that you're nice with me and I like our friendship, but I notice that you're not friendly with that person. And I think there's a little disconnect there. So can we talk about that? Right? If they don't want to listen to what you have to say, then you get a second or third witness to go with you and you have the same conversation. If they refuse that, then you go to the whole body. And after that, they can be excommunicated. Just like if the whole body says, look, you have your point, but we all see it the same way. And we're all trying to encourage you because you're supposed to try to gain a brother or sister that you may have a disagreement with or a rebuke for or whatever. So you're trying to create unity, not tearing apart. All right, let's see. Hey, baby girl, God loves us. Yes, God does, Donna. Good afternoon from New York City. I'm 30 and I tend to get too much zeal, and what wisdom I do have takes a back seat. Quiet and learning is my focus in this season. It will be my turn one day, Yah willing. Exactly right, and you're very mature for even saying that. A brother shall protect his flock. Ryan Jungle Love, what's your favorite book behind you? There are many, many good books behind me, and the one back there that I will recommend is Back to Basics by Reader's Digest. It's an excellent homesteading resource. Yep. Yes, gain one. Yep. Okay, thanks so much. My God bless you. Well, God bless you too. All right, so back to what I wanted to talk about. The karaoke thing ended up being a really a lot of fun for a lot of the ladies, and some of them like to do that once in a while also without having to worry about a bunch of people staring at them that are going to judge them and, hold up the scorecard. She only did a 6 on that one song. I have that book. I was just flipping through it this morning. Yeah, it's an excellent, excellent book. And so the last part, no, it's not the last part. Next to the last part of why I thought this women's retreat was definitely worth going to. Or if you, need to start one yourself, go ahead, was testimonies. Now, in some churches, a testimony is very formal. Walk up to an altar, turn around, testify in front of the whole group. But we were not doing that weekend. We were not being formal in any way. And so the testimonies came out naturally, as y'all would have them, just in conversation, side conversations. And I have found most people, if you approach them and say, hey, what's your testimony? Most people are willing to share it. Yes, Kentucky Survival, you're right about that. But most people, when you show interest in them, are willing to share. And so I asked a few women specifically because I thought, okay, I don't know her that well. She may have said something that prompted me to think, okay, my assumptions about who she might be could be wrong. So I need to go find out the truth. I need to go find out exactly who this person is and what's going on with them. Excuse me. Shalom. Elders are more important in large society as well. They absolutely are. And we in America tend to start to ignore them. And, excuse me. The elders have all the wisdom, and they have seen the society and know what in society is good and bad and what we should be holding on to and what we should be getting rid of. And that's one point of why elders are important. But in the testimonies, I find inspiration as well. I find inspiration from people who have really been beaten down by the world and should, by all, measures, be depressed, be failing, who find Yah, find the word, someone says something to them or someone reaches out to them and they can feel it in their spirit. This is what's supposed to be for them. And they start getting hungry for it and they start going for it and more and getting into the word and more. And as they do, they're being lifted up out of whatever, let's use a biblical story like the prodigal son, out of whatever pig pen they've been wallowing in. They start getting lifted out of it and they start getting washed off and they start getting a direction that they want to go in. That was one of the testimonies that I was pretty astounded by. And I'm not going to get into specifics because that's not the point of the live stream. But she knows who she is. If she watches this, she knows who she is. And there was another one, same thing. Like, I don't know this person that well. In my mind, I've got a picture of, what their life might be and everything. And come to find out, she had many, many health issues that was just, you would not have known it by looking at her, and the testimony of how that has played out and how much she's depending on Yah to help her in her struggles with her health. And I was pretty inspired by that testimony as well, because she's serious. She does research. She looks into herbals and supplements to help her, a lot of things. And so the testimonies I found, just hearing one or two, you can learn so much and also be inspired by them. Yeah, Mrs. Lovely Dudley, it's beautiful and encouraging to witness. And sometimes you don't even know you need that uplifting. But if you go ahead and step out in faith just a little bit and reach out to a brother or sister, and for us, it was sisters reaching out to sisters. You get fed. That's some of that living water that feeds you back. So that was really, really awesome. And then there were 3 speakers this time around. There's different speakers each time. Usually it's a volunteer or the person who plays it will ask, do you want to be a speaker? And we were 3 different people. I was one of them. And wasn't it interesting that all 3 messages that were brought kind of touched each other, right? The Holy Spirit touched 3 people, and none of us talked beforehand. I only knew one of the other speakers. I did not know the third one. And yet each one had a powerful message for the women. And the whole group was affected by this. I can't speak for mine, because then it would be like, oh yeah, I was wonderful. I did a great job. It wasn't like that for me at all. I simply presented what the Father gave me. But I could tell from the reaction to the other 2 speakers that the group was definitely changed, that it reached them, that it was powerful. And I could see in the 3 speeches where there were touch points exactly the same. So that was really, really impressive too, for Yah, not for us. The way Yah worked was really, really impressive in that. And not to be surprised, really, because that's how the Father does work. So there we go. And now remember, if a troll's in here, as long as they're not saying something immoral or rude or whatever, I don't care. They can be in here. They can squirrel around as long as they're doing something not offensive. But thank you to all my ranch holders for wielding your powers. I appreciate you being in here. Hey, Pharma. So let's see. Rachel Highhouse, my doctor daughter, and I will be going to refuge training in July for the next level of training. It is really worth it. Plus, it's a great time to be with great people and my daughter. Well, that's pretty exciting. All right. And so that's all I had to say about the women's retreat. It was the second time. It was the second time I'd gone. And I don't foreplan. I don't say, okay, well, I'm definitely going next year, whatever. I don't know what next year holds, but for this year, I thought it was worth it. Okay, so now open to general discussion, and Pharma's in here. And I wasn't going to do this because she said it was not required, but I'm going to open a package she sent me just because it's been sitting here for like a week and a half, and I need to get it unpacked and put away somewhere because our little cottage is pretty crowded, and we're trying really hard to make sure we put stuff away. All right. So no, most of us have not had bad experiences with the storm. Teresa Jukowitz was about to be in a severe thunderstorm. And I heard Pastor listening to a Bear Independent video this morning about some barge that hit a pylon in Oklahoma. But people along the river had already bolstered up the infrastructure, and so the barge got damaged, but nothing happened to the pylon it ran into. And I'm like, yeah, that's America right there. All right, so first of all, the thing smells really good, and Pharma is also Soapy Acres, and she makes things like soap, and she does a really good job. So here's beeswax, goat milk, balm. And she's even got it in French. I don't know. Lait de chèvre à la cire d'habile baum. So there's that little doodad. It's got ingredients on the back. This is all very professional. Apply as needed to dry skin. Discontinue if irritation occurs. Okay. That smells really good. Cute little picture on it. I don't know if I can get you to see it. She's got a cute little picture on there. Grandma Ginger's Farm. Ooh, that sounds luxurious. Yeah, and she sells this stuff. She has a Instagram. Pharma, put it up there. Whatever your contact information is. And then I have to label it in French and English. Well, I appreciate it. The only French I know is fries. I know hors d'oeuvres, Garcon. Okay, so here's a thing of her soap. Oh man, look at it! I swear it looks like some kind of delicious fudge. She does such a really nice job with all this. It is hot processed goat milk and honey soap, cinnamon spice. I was gonna say it smells kind of like a cinnamon for sure. Savon. Look at that little guy. I swear you could put some cheese and have a sandwich from that little feller. And here's another one. Why does French avenues have trees on both sides? Because German soldiers like to walk in the shade. Yes, I've heard that before. Oh my. Oh, I really like the way that one smells. And look, there's little seeds. She put little seeds in it. It's got olive oil, goat milk, and honey. Soap Savon Wild Garden. Oh my gosh. Coconut oil, seed butter, seed oil, honey, activated charcoal. I don't think you could get a soap much healthier than this, Pharma. You are really outdoing yourself, lady. Man. I think I've got a bar of your soap on the counter in there next to the kitchen sink, and it's lasted forever. All right, here's another one. This might be the same one. Lemon basil. Sounds like a tea, too. Lemon basil tea would be awesome. You can smell the basil in that. This stuff is awesome. I really appreciate her sending it. She lives in Canada. Her stuff has to be like declared on the front of the package. She's got to declare everything inside. Like she goes through some trouble. Man. Oh, come on now. Come on. Looks like a chocolate chip or cookie ice cream thing. This one is Charcoal Cleanse. Ooh, smells kind of like lemon balm or mint. That one's really cool too. All right. Only got 2 more things, y'all, and that'll be done with that. Cotton dishcloth, hand woven, walls weaving, Upper Rexton, NB, New Brunswick, I guess. Look at that. It's just pretty. Pretty. Look at that. Those colors. That is something really nice. Oh, and you know what? I should also show you one. I've been holding on to these things, washcloths, forever. That someone sent me, and I'm trying to remember her name. Dang it. I wasn't prepped for that. Oh, and she sent a note. I won't read the note because it could be personal. But, let's see. This is another one. Hanging kitchen towel, so that matches the other one. Thank you so much, Pharma. That is really sweet. And anyone watching, you are not required to send me anything. You aren't required to do that, but I do appreciate. She sent me some really cool tea once too. Nova Scotia tea mix. It had everything in the kitchen in there, and it was really tasty. So let me go get the other thing. I'm trying to remember who sent them. Hang on. Oh goodness. It's Naomi. I think it was Naomi. Yeah. I think it was one of my subscribers named Naomi, and not my daughter-in-law. But maybe I'm wrong. Look, she hand wove these things. Or hand crocheted these washcloths. Look at that. She did such a good job, and she sent a bunch, and it's been like over a year, maybe 2 years. And I was like, I need to make a special shout out to her, and then life happened. So there they are. If she's still watching me, she made these, and these are just sturdy and pretty and everything too. Okay. So, I'm about done on the live stream. I appreciate everyone coming in, and my moderators, Lone Star Living and Mrs. Lovely Dudley, and shout out to Rob and Aid down there in Texas. Well, Aid's traveling right now. He's seeing America. If you ever run into a bewhiskered British man, big fella, who's pretty friendly, tell him hey, because he's a nice guy. And channel supporters, Lee Means and Rachel Heighthouse, and all y'all who are also just subscribers, my crew, thank you for coming to these things. I appreciate it, every single one of you. So I thought it was worth it, y'all. The women's retreat was worth it. All right, thank y'all. Shalom. Yeah, okay, there you go. What's the matter, Pookie?